guys, welcome back to Clockwork Noodles for another breakdown of Summertime Rendering. This is episode number 16. Hello and welcome back, guys, for another breakdown. This time we're going into more horror vibes, more detective work. This anime has a habit of changing genres occasionally, which I really like. We go from urban exploring to a bit of body horror, and now this week's felt more like a detective story. We're starting to unravel some mysteries as well. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am Clockwork Noodles. If you are not subscribed, make sure you give the subscribe button a little bit of love. We are aiming to hit 1k of subscribers by the end of the year. Can you guys make it happen? If you're not subscribed already but you are enjoying my breakdowns, please make sure that you do give it a little bit of attention. It really does help the channel out, and it means so much to me if we can get more noodlings to the channel so I can start doing a bit more interactive stuff with you guys. Let's get to it. We're going to break down this week's episode. This week's episode, we have a new member on our party. We have Shadow Mio. Shadow Mio's interrogation initially does reveal that she did actively act on her own. No one's orders to go and take out Mio. She also gives us some handy information about the idea of splitting off or copying. Making a copy or splitting off a part of a shadow is the act of childbirth. It's how they reproduce. I guess in a sense it's very similar to the Borg, where they assimilate people into their fold like a hive mind. Hane's skills, she can actually create multiple shadows. However, it comes at a price. So she's very weak. She can only do it a few times, but then she'll need to eat a lot of people to recuperate. Most other shadows that she creates can only do it one time, and their children thus cannot copy themselves afterwards. So we know that the cycle is not infinite. It comes to a point where it hits a barrier and it doesn't go any further. We also get a confirmation that the 1 week period is the period they get to erase the original, otherwise they themselves vanish. So we already knew this from Ushio. She told us this already. This week's episode takes us to the next logical step to interrogate So's dad, the man who has been in on it for many, many years. Oh, I can't wait to tell you guys what I think about this guy. I'm gonna have to be PC or YouTube's gonna smack me with a nice big old hammer to my face when it matters. I'm gonna see if I can try and do this without using any explicitives. It's gonna be very, very fun. Really feel a bit weird though now that we have Shadow Mio on our team and we're just talking quite frankly, quite openly with her. It's just weird because she's been the enemy for most of the first season. It's so weird because I don't like her, but then now she's okay. She's been cut off from Hane. Unusual concept. But this week's episode, more feeling like a bit of urban exploring, coming back to a horror. It felt a little bit Resident Evil as well, more like the earlier games where we were exploring old morgues and we're in the middle of a hospital in the middle of the night and it's all creepy. I do love the vibes as well. The anime really does capture these vibes quite nicely. And short-haired Ushio really starting to grow on me. I actually like her hair at that length. So let's talk about the next big thing we end up walking in on in the middle of the darkness, where we see Shadow Mum trying to kill off So's dad. Felt a bit inevitable because shadows could be controlled, so at any moment Shadow Mum was really just going to be able to turn on anybody if she wanted to. So's initial reluctance in acting does essentially kill his dad off until we end up reviving him. We needed to talk to him, but to be honest, I wouldn't have felt much after meeting this guy if he hadn't been revived, which is a bad thing for me to say, but this guy, man, this guy really wound me up, something chronic, and he's still alive, and that irritates me now. Hane initially wanted to wipe out a loose end. She knew that they would want answers, and she knew that he was a loose end that needed to be tied up. That's why she's able to control the shadow, do her bidding, and get rid of a loose end. So's dad, the delusional, desperate, illogical, just psychopath, outright shoots his own family member. He is a complete douchebag, douche nozzle, a douche canoe. He is king of the douche canoes. I do not like this guy at all. And there's no redeeming factors. I know he tries to make up for it, but it just, everything he says, everything that comes out of his mouth just made it worse and worse for me. This guy is literally king of the garbage heap for me. I am thankful that Shadow Mio was the one who took the bullet, but very, very clever of her there. I do wonder when they switched because we didn't see the switch, because Mio was supposed to be protecting Mio. If something had gone wrong outside and real Mio had been wiped out, that would have been quite sad. Thankfully, nothing goes wrong. I'm so thankful for the switcheroo. I don't recall when they did it, and I know they're not supposed to show us everything. Sometimes it does feel like something will happen to save the plot, which initially didn't have any setup. I don't feel like it would have been a logical thing because they made a big play of them telling us to protect Mio. So Shadow Mio, please protect real Mio. And she makes a big old play on that. But then that really was a false red herring. Suo's dad is the king of a waste of spacenesses. I'm happy that Suo is able to just give him a piece of his mind, but also cut ties. He's able to just drop him and end the conversation, walk away, be the bigger person, which makes Suo a much better character in my eyes as well. The realization that Suo's dad does not have copy immunity seems to be the last straw. As we found out later, he thought he could become a shadow, and him now realizing that he can't become a shadow pretty much makes him realize that he's been screwed out too. So we have 2 days left. Time is seriously running out. Usho's body is also now gone. But Suo's mum and dad are now cut off and up to speed. The next sequence, when we're just talking to them and we try and get a bit of useful information out of the King of Garbage, we have confirmation again that Usho's connection to Hane. If we do wipe out Hane, all the shadows that she has produced, all of her offspring is going to die. That is also good, handy information, because we know we just got to aim for the queen. Aim for the queen, wipe it out, and the connections are lost. So don't spend your time worrying about the little guys. Go straight for the boss. Unless, of course, if you buy into my big overarching plot that Usho is something special. So there's a possibility that Usho is, even if you do wipe out the queen, that Usho is still going to survive. I still think there's something much bigger going on than face value, and I do believe that Usho is more to Hane than we're being allowed to know, and this is information they're definitely camping until the right moment. But I am still 100% it's that way, and obviously with the announcement of Shide's original form, that might wipe out one of my theories from last week. However, I also don't think it completely wipes it out. I still think it's possible that my theory from last week can still stand. Usho's absolute bravery in the knowledge that she could be completely wiped out. She is happy to save lives, and she already knows that she's borrowing time. I love Usho. She is so positive. She is just great. She is scared of dark, but she is able to be brave when needed. And she understands that I'm already a copy. I already died. This is me now on borrowed time, and if I can make something good out of my borrowed time, I am happy with that. And that's why I think she is one of the best characters. I do love her to pieces. My cop dude, I can't even remember his name. The cop dude who is my comic relief. Those two are my favourite characters. I love those two to pieces. I really hope nothing bad happens to them, but one of my 2 favourite characters is a main character. It's always nerve-wracking when I actually do find myself liking a main cast member, because their lives are at risk at all times, especially when you're Usho and you possibly could be erased in 2 days. What is Hane's actual end goal? The end goal is to take Shuri and her family to the Shadow Country, where she originally came from, an eternal place where no time exists, which is probably why she's able to loop, because time to her doesn't mean anything. It's an interesting goal, and we also know that she promised that Suo's dad and his family could go there in their shadow forms, but this is also the moment when Suo's dad realizes he got screwed over, because he can't become a shadow, so he can't go and live with his shadow family in the shadow realm, because only shadows are allowed there. Initially also made me more angry. Suo's dad is just the king of the garbage heap. He's selfish. He is cold. It's not right that you should be happy to get rid of your kids because you know that you can make a copy of them. That shouldn't be the way that it is. That's just wrong. You're basically happy for them to die. In all of the stuff that's going on, he's lost sight of the meaning and value of a human life, because he thinks, I can make a copy, it doesn't matter. That might be a bit of a theme that the anime is trying to play up, is that just because something can be copied and you can make a copy of something, it's not right to then lessen your value on the original item. Just because you know it can be saved and your data could be saved, you should still value the same original thing to its highest potential. He's just an unforgivable character to me, and I don't care if he tries to make up for it by showing us his magical book. His magical book is an entire book of innocent lives that have become food for Hane. Shinpei's parents are in there because they got too deep and they dug around, and then they ended up dying because they were innocent, and they went somewhere where there was a conspiracy that was being hidden by bad people. The fact that he complied and he was able to cover up for murder, he maybe even had an active hand in killing off innocent lives, that is just wrong. So you can get your happy ending, you are depriving everybody else of their happy endings. And this book contains names of innocent people who are no longer able to live their own little lives and have their own happy endings just because Hane wants to have a happy ending, or he wants a happy ending with his shadow family, which is just a copy of the real thing. This guy is king of trash pile and I do not like him. I just hope that the next episode shy away from having him on screen too much because he just makes my blood boil. But let's talk about the final big reveal, that Shido's original form, original identity, the first child of Hane, founder of the clinic. Now, we don't see a face, and that mask is so damn creepy. And my original idea was that it's Shin's body in there. There is still no reason why it can't be Shin. If you go by the idea that Shin can't be copied as well, and he's almost got this protective thing going on, and the fact that Mio doesn't try to copy him, she wouldn't have been able to anyway. It's Shide who initially said there's no data there, which is weird if it is actually him trying to scan his own self, because he can't copy himself if that is a copy of him. I still think there's a chance that it could be Shin. Open now to the idea that it might not be Shin. We don't know who the founder is. I have a feeling the next few episodes are somehow going to give us the backstory to the original founder. Maybe we're going to discover the secrets, because it was the old clinic where we found that weird statue. That clinic's been there at the heart of everything for quite some time, and I have a feeling the original founder, if it was the original deity's son, he might be the reason why he's picked a child out of nowhere. Could still also run into my original idea that Hane is the daughter of Shin and Ushio. Bear with me on this one. I haven't fleshed this out yet, but I do feel like I'm onto something. Back in the day, many decades and years ago, maybe even 100 centuries ago, Shin and original Ushio were there. They gave birth to Hane, and maybe the founder chose that girl to become the new body of the deity who was running out at that point. Maybe that's when he took that, and then the loop started. Maybe Ushio is special because she's related to the body or something. I'm trying to work on this one. I am going to make it work somehow, and I'm sure every passing episode that goes by is going to lose water. Wild idea that came to my head a while ago. The more I think about it, the more it makes sense to me, so I might be a bit too far gone and unable to see past my idea. Another episode down. We are now approaching 8 episodes left till the end now. I really hope we're able to wrap it up, and I really hope that we get a decent ending. Please stick the landing. This anime has been solid. Please give me a solid landing. Don't wreck it. I've had too many animes build up to this point and then drop the ending at the last minute. Let's see where we go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode. I hope you're taking care of yourselves and have a good weekend planned for yourselves. Take care, guys. I'll see you in another video. Bye bye.